News coming in that this is the footage, the first footage of the Russian troops now entering Kherson. That's the latest information that we have gathered along with the visuals from this morning as far as the Russian forces entering the city of Kherson is concerned. This information has been gathered and sent across by the mayor of this particular area. The Russian army on Tuesday reached the southern Ukrainian city of Kherson near the Moscow-controlled Crimea and is setting up checkpoints on its outskirts. The city's mayor has now stated this. Meanwhile, the Russian, army is also setting up checkpoints and entrances near Kherson. And Kherson has been and will stay with Ukraine, and the mayor stated. But we can see several of these videos coming in of how Russian troops have been trying to encircle the entire region as far as the country of Ukraine is concerned. We have also seen several of these visuals coming in on day 6 of the Russian offensive in Ukraine, where airstrikes continue in Kyiv and Kharkiv as well. My colleague Suesha is also joining us on this broadcast. Yes, Suesha, we have the first footage of the Russian troops now entering Kherson.
Absolutely, Richa, and let's understand that today on day six, I beg your pardon, the situation that is worsening on the ground as we see how Russia is really intensifying the shelling, and many of these war zones that are severely hit. Of course, just a while ago, we also showed our viewers that 40-mile convoy of Russian tanks and other vehicles threatened Ukraine's capital, and now these are the latest pictures of the Russian troops entering Kherson. So really, when we see the satellite images and the aerial pictures that give us a sense of how the deployment is spreading on the ground, Russia putting further pressure by using this method, and it is only getting grave because we also see a kind of ammunition that is being used by Russia at this point, military installations that have been targeted by Russia, intense shelling, and vacuum bombs that are being used against civilians on the ground. Richa.
Absolutely. Let me also now go across to our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor joining us on this broadcast. And Abhishek, we have the first images of the Russian troops entering Kherson. And Kherson has a population of around over 280,000 people lying north of Crimea Peninsula. Help us understand the significance of this region as well.
Well, the significance is that the Russian strategy is evolving, and we can see it in two ways. One, we are increasingly seeing cities being taken over by troops on the ground, by boots on the ground, and strategic locations around those cities being captured. We have seen how from the beginning, when the action was focused towards the east, it has panned towards the west. And now, in the case of Kherson, there is a thrust from the south as well. So we have seen the Russian troops coming in from the north via the Belarus route. We have seen the troops supporting the separatists in the Donetsk and the Luhansk region in the east and coming in from that side, taking over Kharkiv. And then we have seen this thrust from the south, from the Crimea Peninsula. So essentially what we are seeing is, so far as the eastern part of Ukraine is concerned, that is east of Dnieper River, the west still remains predominantly in the control of the present government in Kiev. But towards the east, I think by a slow creep, the Russians are getting in control of almost half the country of Ukraine. So that's an evolving strategy, as we can see. Earlier, for example, most of the raids were happening during the daytime, and one thought that while the Americans typically do it at night, the Russians for some reason are choosing it during the daytime. But then now, even for the air raids, we are seeing even that strategy is evolving, and more raids are happening towards the night, and in the daytime, capture of the ground is taking place. So that evolution of Russian military tactic has happened. Maybe they are a little more confident that so far as their military or larger military objective is concerned, the portion towards the east of Dnieper River, which has predominantly Russian ethnic population, I think they just want to clear it and capture it now, and that's why those boots on the ground. So that strategy being visible in the pictures that are coming in. Also, the scale of destruction is also emerging now. So that's another aspect of this entire exercise. Remember, something has happened which made the Ukrainian side come to the table and negotiate with the Russians at the place of their choosing in Belarus instead of the western or the west of Ukraine nations that they had earlier demanded, which clearly shows that the government in Kiev is realizing they are getting hemmed in, they are getting encircled, they are getting surrounded, and they have lesser leverage. So better negotiate and get something out before Russians control all the vantage and Russians control the narrative. So in the sense that they control everything on the ground, all the levers on the ground. So that bit has happened over the last 2 days. We don't know how it pans out from here, but in all likelihood, given the exodus that is taking place from Kiev as well, Richa, I think it's only a matter of time before something has to be thrashed out so far as the Kiev government is concerned with the Russians. Otherwise, of course, the military offensive is intensifying. Increasingly, we are seeing Russians are getting control of territory on the ground as well, with these boots on the ground that we can see in the pictures. And of course, as has been reported by our teams there in the Ukrainian capital, as also along the borders of Ukraine towards the east, it's a clear case of increasingly Russians getting a control by creep